He was one of the most powerful and influential characters of his time, breaking the barriers between purebloods and half-breeds, as Ultimate Gohan was widely regarded as one of the most polarizing icons of his time, and perhaps maybe still to some even to this day. But what is Ultimate Gohan? On today's video, we will be diving into the history of Ultimate Gohan, spanning from Dragon Ball Z all the way to Dragon Ball Super, the ups, the downs, and the incredible heights he's reached to get to where he is currently and beyond, as we are about to dive into the history of Ultimate Gohan next. If you are new to this channel and enjoy what you see, then don't forget to punch that subscribe button and turn on all notifications by clicking on the bell icon to receive new and daily content on your mobile devices, desktops, and services that I provide, along with following me on these social media platforms to stay connected with me at all times. Thank you so much for your continued support. Now let's begin. Gohan is widely looked at from two different angles within the Dragon Ball community, as some believe he is a great and powerful yet resilient warrior, while others believe that Gohan is well beyond his prime and where he used to be, and simply becoming a shell of his former self. Now, the first time we ever catch a glimpse of Gohan's ultimate powers manifest onto the surface was during Dragon Ball Z manga chapter number 497, volume 4, and Dragon Ball Z episode 263, entitled A Whole New Gohan, which premiered in Japan on May 3rd, 1995, and over on the States on October 29th, 2002. Now, before diving into the growth and regression of Gohan's powers in the series, let's talk about what the concept of Ultimate Gohan is. For starters, the true name of Gohan's powers, as seen during manga chapter 497 and episode 263 of Dragon Ball Z, is referring to Gohan as Ultimate. The concept of Mystic Gohan has never once been stated in the manga or anime before, which implies that the title of Mystic was simply made up by the fandom. Now, contrary to popular belief, there is nothing magical or mystical about Gohan's ultimate power. It just simply implied as it is his ultimate powers. Now, in both the Dragon Ball Z anime and the Dragon Ball Z manga, the method of action taken for Gohan to achieve this was a direct result from the Elder Kai, allowing Gohan to tap into his true potential and having his full strength be awakened, as opposed to partial strength, as was done when the Elder Kai had told Gohan that there was no need for him to tap into Super Saiyan when he was already at full strength when his powers were awakened. But this wasn't the first time that Gohan had his powers awakened in the series, as during Dragon Ball Z episode 61, entitled Hidden Power, Gohan had his hidden power awakened by the hands of Guru before dying, and this, according to Vegeta, was enough to make him question the potential of half-breeds, as it is confirmed not only by Vegeta, but by multiple sources that indeed the hybrid Saiyans Gohan, Future Trunks, Goten, and Little Trunks, along with potentially Bulma and Pan, have the ability to supersede purebloods in power. Now, one person who had always recognized Gohan's amazing feats and inner powers was Piccolo, as Piccolo knew of Gohan's hidden potential ever since he was a small child. It was Gohan's blind rage that assisted Goku and Piccolo in their fight against Raditz. It was Gohan's blind rage that took down Vegeta when he was trying to protect his father. Even during the Frieza arc, his rage after witnessing the genocide of the Namekian people allowed him to unlock his powers that much more, that even scared Frieza even if he was assisted by the hands of Guru. When faced off against Cell, he unleashed his inner strength by witnessing a friend die before his eyes, Android 16, increasing his power ever much so, beyond anyone who was there even present during the Cell games, including Perfect Cell himself. So Gohan has always been known as the individual who can always jump in power, having some sort of a power increase after every single arc in Dragon Ball Z, and thus by the end of the series allowing Gohan to become one of the strongest characters within the franchise, even after the conclusion of the Majin Buu arc. Now, having to go back during the battle against Super Buu, we've seen Gohan at his strongest during the time of Dragon Ball Z, as his powers were awakened by the Elder Kai, as the Elder Kai had gone on to tell Gohan all he needed to do was do what he normally did as a Super Saiyan and just transform further, and thus having Gohan transform before everyone's eyes, but never having to look any different than how beginning the ritual in the first place, but instead, he was at his peak without having the need to transform into a Super Saiyan. Now, having to fast forward into Dragon Ball Super, we saw a completely different Gohan, the likes in which we've never seen before. In fact, instead of becoming stronger, Gohan had become unquestionably weaker, and a part of this was losing the ways of his warrior spirit, as seen during the first fight against Beerus, as Ultimate Gohan came into play, but never really had any sort of significant effect on the God of Destruction Beerus. But then again, Beerus does hold the title of being a destroyer, a Hakaishin, so you can't really expect Ultimate Gohan to simply hold a candle to that. But as we fast forward into Resurrection of F, we see the return of Frieza. Now, Frieza at this given point was not the same Frieza as we saw during the Namek arc, but instead had also become just as powerful as we've seen some of the other characters get stronger in Dragon Ball Z, only this time Frieza had broken beyond his barriers and going beyond the powers of a Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, even the powers of Ultimate Gohan in Dragon Ball Z, and catching up to Goku's Super Saiyan Blue level in Resurrection of F. And during that given point, we also get to see how there was a group meeting between Piccolo, Tenshinhan, Kuririn, Roshi, and of course Gohan, as Bulma had encouraged Gohan to go give it to him that he could totally beat them, with Gohan having to reply by simply saying he can only take on the soldiers, as he believes that she doesn't realize how dangerous Frieza had become, in which Gohan simply goes on to explain he's gotten way stronger than before. It's as if he is a different person. As Gohan begins to worry, Piccolo replies to Gohan by saying the one who has lost his training uniform is worrying about others, as later on we get to see how Tagoma, who was influenced by Ginyu's spirit taking over Tagoma's body, is challenging the warriors, as Gohan himself went on to state he's probably as strong as me when I was at my best. Now, when was Gohan's best prior to Resurrection of F? It can't be Battle of Gods because Gohan didn't do anything, so it had to have been during Dragon Ball Z in his fight against Super Buu, in which at that given point was Gohan's best, until of course we saw him later on in the Tournament of Power. Now, I do also want to point out that during the battle against Super Buu, Piccolo had noticed quickly the change in Gohan, as Piccolo went on to state during Dragon Ball Z manga chapter number 498, Piccolo had went on to state, is that really Gohan? There's something different about him. His face is a little different, but his ki has been completely rearranged. He's lost his gentleness. That's why I don't recognize him at first. Where for the first time we get to see the overwhelming confidence be bestowed upon Gohan as he's faced off against one of the strongest villains during the time, against none other than Super Buu. But fast forwarding to Dragon Ball Super, obviously Gohan had lost his ways, in which he seeked out Piccolo to resort to training in order for him to pick the pace back up in competing within the Tournament of Power. And thus we get to see how Super Saiyan 2 Gohan was fighting almost equally to Piccolo until Piccolo had pointed out Gohan's flaws. Piccolo had noticed that Gohan wasn't fighting at full power and encouraged him to do so, as during the course of battle Piccolo went on to state, so that's your level now. To tell you the truth, Goku came to me after the Zen exhibition match, as Piccolo goes on to ask Goku, how is Gohan by the way, as Goku goes on to reply by saying he's out of practice, but he was doing his best at the Zen exhibition match. But considering Gohan's original power, he should have been able to do much better, as Piccolo goes on to state, I'll train him to get his fighting sense back, which implies that during the course of Dragon Ball Super episode 88, Gohan from Dragon Ball Z was still significantly more powerful than the Gohan we saw at that given point, given the text and dialogue from Piccolo and Goku. Now Piccolo goes on to state, you won't get anything done like that if you can't even invoke your original strength, hence the word original. You'll never be able to protect your family. It's true, the wish to protect can give you strength, but wishing too strongly can be dangerous. As Piccolo goes on to state, if you can't control it properly, it will impede more than benefit. As Piccolo goes on to state, it's true that you're powerful, but you have a weakness. I'll show you that weakness. As of course Super Saiyan 2 Gohan goes on to fight Piccolo, with Piccolo having to state, what's wrong Gohan? Is that all you've got? Did you think I was doing nothing while you were studying and researching? When Elder Kai drew out your power to fight Buu, you became arrogant and overestimated your power, which heavily implies that Ultimate Gohan does have a weakness, in which happens to be arrogance and letting his guard down, as Gohan later on goes on to fight Piccolo in his Super Saiyan 2 form, as Piccolo goes on to state, Super Saiyan isn't your full power, is it? As Piccolo reminds Gohan in saying that power you used when you fought Buu, awaken that real you, in which by the end of the Ultimate Gohan and Piccolo fight, Piccolo goes on to state, you still let your guard down, pointing out Gohan's flaws and saying, just like when you fought Buu, and stating back then you assumed the fight was over, Arc got careless and got absorbed by Boo, in which Piccolo goes on to state, "I suppose by letting your guard down comes from your father," as he tells Gohan, "Lose your arrogance and never let your guard down until the fight is over," which interestingly enough Piccolo goes on to tell Gohan afterwards and saying, "Gohan, I don't believe that is the extent of your power," in stating you should be able to go much further. After having to take Gohan once more to train, we saw the evolution of Gohan begin to progress forward as he encounters his father Goku. Now the progression of Gohan's character once fighting Son Goku was very evident in the idea that Gohan was able to go toe-to-toe with Super Saiyan Goku, but also pushing him and using Super Saiyan Blue. And because of that, for a single solitary moment, we see Gohan endure some of the hits of Super Saiyan Blue Goku and continue to endure further in pushing his father and using his full power at the time, that being Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue. As we enter the Tournament of Power, it's unquestionable that Gohan at this given point was at his strongest, minus any sort of evolution that has to do with Ultra Instinct or anything beyond a Super Saiyan number, i.e. Super Saiyan 3 and etc. At this given point, Gohan's ultimate power was able to be contested alongside characters like Ani Raza, who was easily able to take on 5 god tier characters by himself. And it's unquestionable at that point Gohan had become the strongest he can possibly be in his ultimate form, tapping into his inner strength by removing arrogance. By not letting his guard down, Gohan had in fact sharpened and perfected his powers. As of course, can Gohan achieve something even higher? Can Gohan eventually achieve a higher evolution? Well, time can only tell. Dragon Ball is filled with lots of surprises and twists and turns that literally and essentially anything can happen within the world of Dragon Ball. And to basically sum it all up, Gohan from Dragon Ball Super since the beginning with Battle of Gods all the way up until the Tournament of Power arc had been completely fodder in comparison to his Z counterpart, and that had not only been proven by the characters within the show but also having to read the subtext as well. Up until the Tournament of Power arc, Gohan had then become the strongest version of himself that he could have possibly have been, and it's because of his training with Piccolo, it's because of his training with his father that allowed him to pursue that fighting spirit and becoming the warrior that he once was, except this time correcting his flaws, dropping his arrogance, keeping his guard up, and becoming a better rounded warrior than how we saw in his previous battle in Dragon Ball Z against Super Buu. But in the end, I would like to know how you guys feel about Gohan. What are your overall thoughts on Ultimate Gohan? Is it possible for Gohan to discover a new evolution in the foreseeable future? What are your overall thoughts as to Gohan's greatest moments and what they may have been in the world of Dragon Ball? Post your comments down below, guys. I would like to know your feedback. Thank you all so much for watching. If of course you guys are new to the channel and of course love Dragon Ball, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on all notifications, tune back in for more, check out the description down below for awesome goodies such as this, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys in the next video. So for that, cue my motherfucking outro, bitch.